What's going on, boxing fans? I'm back here with another video here set for you guys. Gonna be giving my in-depth breakdown and predictions of the Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. card that's gonna be going down, I believe, June 28th, later this month in June. I'm only going to be talking about three fights that are really and particularly most interesting to me, most noteworthy, and definitely the fights that I'm going to be paying attention on that card. Not going to be touching on the subject of Holly Holm coming back, and she's going to be making. I don't think it's her boxing debut. I think she's going to be going back into doing boxing again after she was done with her UFC career. But obviously, that's something that she is a big name. I think she's on the feature fight on this card. But yeah, just gonna be talking about the fights that I think that are most important and most entertaining so far. And the first fight that I want to be able to talk about is the Floyd Schofield fight versus Tevin Farmer. I didn't even know that this was actually going to be going down. Something that's very surprising and actually quite a surprise. I think this fight is actually going to be the best fight on the card, in my honest opinion. It's I don't think it's going to be like a barn burner that a lot of people think that it's going to be expected to be. That, a lot of people think that, oh yeah, it's going to be the best fight on the card, so it's going to be like a war. Nah, I think this is just going to be a very big boxing chess match where it's just even killed on both sides. Where you have Floyd Schofield, the boxing prospect that he's very, very talented, undefeated fighter. Supposed to be fighting Shakur Stevenson on the, I believe it was the Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch. I think that was the card that fight was supposed to be on, but it fell through. And Shakur Stevenson then fought Josh Padley. So I think Floyd Schofield, went out of the fight because he said he got sick or something like that. And now he's going to be jumping into this fight against Tevin Farmer. A very big step up for him in terms of competition. Tevin Farmer, wily vet, very great veteran, coming off is on a 3-fight losing streak as of right now. And then the last two losses that he had against Williams of Zepeda were very, very close decisions. I think the last one should have been a draw. First one I wasn't able to watch, but I knew that it was a split decision going to Williams of Zepeda's way. And man, there's just been a lot of things that's gone wrong in Tevin Farmer's career. I'm actually a pretty big fan about him. I think he's actually a really great fighter, very slick in the southpaw position, has heart and a lot of determination. I mean, he was going through the fight with that type of, I think he had like a hand injury as well. He had like his shoulder popped out or something else like that, or his elbow. He was going through a lot. He was dealing with a lot of injuries going throughout that fight, and he just continued on moving forward. And while he was getting beat up in that fight against William Zepeda, he showed a lot of cojones. He let his nuts hang. He let his nuts drag. Because after getting dominated and seemingly beat up in those first like 5-6 rounds, he then went to win, I think, the last 6 rounds of that fight. So a lot of credit, Tevin Farmer has been around the block. He's fought not the who's who, but he's fought a lot of big names compared to a Floyd Schofield. And Schofield, this is a very big test to be able to go over such as a guy and a name like a Tevin Farmer. I don't think Tevin Farmer, in my honest opinion, is a gatekeeper, but he is in a gatekeeper role as of right now. And I think Schofield is a really great, I'm not going to say great, I think he's a good fighter. I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's up to that type of caliber and level of fighter. And I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with Tevin Farmer in this one. I know he's the old, wild veteran where, he's gotten beat up, got a lot of damage on him, got a wear and tear, but he has great experience. He's been in these type of situations a lot more than Floyd Schofield, and I just think that him being on the losing streak that he's on as of right now, especially with a lot of the closest decisions that he's been getting as of recent, I think he's going to be coming out there with a fire under his ass, and he's going to get the job done. Probably by late stoppage. I mean, Tevin Farmer's a guy that's not really known to carry a lot of power in his hands. He's more of a boxer, just going off skill, having great head movement, great footwork. But he's been hitting Williams Zepeda with a lot of great shots, had some knockdowns, had him wobbled and hurt a few times. And especially like later in his career, even though he's been losing a lot as well, or on this losing streak that he's on as of right now, he's been carrying a lot more power in his hands than as of note than when he was carrying earlier in his career. So I'm going to go with Tevin Farmer with late stoppage against Floyd Schofield. And moving on to the co-main event, we got the cruiserweight belts on the line between Gilberto Ramirez versus Yonel Dorticos. Dorticos is a Cuban-led cruiserweight boxer who's been around the block for a lot of times. I know he had his first loss coming against Murat Gassiev. That's when Gassiev was in his prime and looking like an absolute beast in cruiserweight. And I know he had one more other loss on his record, but is a known cruiserweight. I'm like losing his name as of right now, but forgive me for that. And Gilberto Ramirez is on a 3-fight win streak. As soon as he moved up to cruiserweight after his loss to Dimitri Bivol in the light heavyweight division, has some decent names such as Joe Smith Jr., Arsman Goulamirian, Chris Billum Smith as his last win. I don't think Gilberto Ramirez is a great boxer. I think he's good to very good, and he is holding all the titles. Yonel Dorticos is on a 3-fight win streak, 3 KOs, but nobody really of note that he's knocked out on his 3 knockout win streak that he's had. Took a year off. Last fight that he had was in 2024. Before that, it was in 2022 or 2021. So he's been kind of inactive and inconsistent. He's also going up there in age as well. Just the way that it's looking, it would be a great name for Gilberto Ramirez to have somebody like a Yonel Dorticos on his resume, who's been a stable in the cruiserweight division for quite some time. And him getting the job done against a dude like this, just to keep, I wouldn't say keep himself busy. Is, while he is a little bit weathered and older in age, and yes, he is on a 3-fight win streak, but against no names really, nobody really pays attention to the cruiserweight division, but against guys that nobody really does know for real, it kind of goes, a long way to be able to look and see that. Gilberto Ramirez, even though his competition isn't the greatest, because again the cruiserweight division isn't the greatest at all, it has been some type of names that you can be able to look at and be like, huh, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent competition that he's actually stepped up to in the cruiserweight division. I'm gonna go with Gilberto Ramirez in this one. I think I'm gonna go with a stoppage, probably in the 6th, 5th round. Yonel hasn't really fought up to this type of level in quite some time. Has been quite inactive. Fought against really no names. Towards the end of his career, obviously, he's not really in his prime anymore, even though he carried a lot of power in his prime and was looking like a goddamn beast in there, a goddamn warrior, a savage, a Cuban savage, as they say. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gilberto Ramirez in this one. He should be the heads-on favorite in that one. And I think he gets the job done by KO. And moving on now to the main event, we got Julio Cesar Chavez versus Jake Paul in a somewhat, I guess, rivalry matchup between Mexico versus Puerto Rico, the pride of Mexico, that being Julio Cesar Chavez, even though he's definitely lost that war that he had against Canelo in that matchup that they had against each other for pretty much the pride of Mexico. That's essentially why they were going against each other, and quite a good rivalry on the build-up. But the fight, obviously, Julio Cesar Chavez got his ass whooped. And ever since then, Julio Cesar Chavez's career has pretty much just gone down. He's been dealing with a lot of controversies in terms of steroid use, in terms of drug use, in terms of not taking boxing as seriously. And he's finally now, in terms of the age of, YouTuber, quote unquote, boxing, where, guys like Jake Paul, KSI, other names and misfits that they have, such on DAZN and those things of like and ilk, have come on. Julio Cesar Chavez has revived his career. I know he had a loss against Anderson Silva in a boxing match, which, I mean, dude, your whole career, you're the boxer, and you went and get to MMA, dude, and you got beat up by Anderson Silva, even though Anderson Silva's hands is very, very clean, and at his older age as well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Then after that, he got a win against a dude named David Zagara, and he got last time out a win against Uriah Hall, which was quite uneventful, but he did what he needed to be able to do. Obviously, he's way out of his prime This is not the same type of fighter that he was before. His chin is still okay, but again, he's just not in his prime. All his tools and skills have withered with age and obviously abuse of steroids and all the controversies that he's been coming on with and drug use as well. I mean, this is no hidden story about Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, the guy has been putting himself through the ringer because, he is who he is. Obviously, he has the name of the great Julio Cesar Chavez, which is one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, probably the GOAT for Mexico in terms of boxing or boxers. And going against Jake Paul, the social media sensation, him going into the boxing realm, I don't think he's a cancer like so many other people think that he is. I don't think he's absolutely trash for boxing. He's putting up names and trying to be able to bring up women's boxing and entertaining fighters such as Amanda Serrano and him building that, big card, especially with having now under MVP promotions with him. Alicia Baumgartner, another great women's boxer. He's trying to be able to build that up as well. And having names like Gilberto Ramirez, Floyd Schofield, Tevin Farmer on this type of level of, boxing events and cards. Last time out, I know he had Mario Barrios on that card with him and Mike Tyson. He's coming off that win against Mike Tyson. And if you thought Mike Tyson was going to win that fight against Jake Paul, you're absolutely mentally, checked out. Like, your brain is not even inside of your head. I don't know what you thought. You're like really like dumb. You're like the biggest dumb idiot I know. If you really thought Mike Tyson had a chance in that one, but really Jake Paul pretty much just feeds off the crowd, the energy similar to like a Floyd Mayweather, where a lot of people want to be able to see him lose. He's already lost though against Tyson Fury's brother, Tommy Fury. There we go. He lost against him. They were trying to be able to negotiate them to be able to get some type of rematch. Jake Paul, I think, looks a lot better than what he was looking when he fought Tommy Fury the first time out. I don't think that he's a tremendous boxer. I don't think he's elite, but he is pretty decent. He is kind of good. He has good power for a cruiserweight. He is pretty fast, has a good jab, and he's getting a lot more experience, and he's fighting all these, bigger names, even though, again, they're out of their prime. And Jake Paul started boxing, like 5 years ago or something like that. So, he's pretty just new into the game, but he's, having the best work, working against the best dudes, trying to be able to get the best type of experience and work with his training and coaches. And yeah, I'm going to go with Jake Paul in this one by KO. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is known for his chin, but again, age and all these other factors have really just weathered on him, and I don't think he's the same type of fighter. Obviously, he's not, but it just has gone tremendously down. Like, it's just it's just nosedived. It's really nosedived for him. And Jake Paul, man, I think that he's actually a pretty good fighter. Um, Even though he's not fighting real boxers in the cruiserweight division. This is just pretty much just for show, for entertainment. It's a circus, but people are there to be able to enjoy, because obviously they're going to promote the hell out of this. Jake Paul is a huge name. He's also a great villain. A lot of people want to be able to see him get knocked the hell out, because why not? But yeah, I'm going to go with Jake Paul in this one by KO. I'm not going to call a round out, but I'm going to go with him knocking Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. out cold. And those are my predictions for this card on the Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. card. Obviously, like this video. If you obviously like this video, comment your opinions on what you think is going to go down on this card. Not just pertaining to the fights that I predicted on this card, but any other fights that you want to be able to predict or think that's going to go down, or how it's going to go down on that card as well. You're more than welcome to be able to comment that down yourself. And subscribe, boxing fans. You're here for a reason. And you want to be able to continue here for a reason, because I'm giving you this type of content that nobody else is giving you. And why not stay longer? Because why not? Thank you guys again for watching again, and peace.